guys, I'm Ember. Thank you so much for being here. So today I'm here with another collective tarot reading, and I pulled your current energies, and I got the Drowned King, the New Pearl, and Chaos, which it also says Confuso, so it's confusion. So the Drowned King is such a huge energy to me. When I pulled it, it was like I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. It talks about going through an ego death and like the old you collapsing because there's a new you that's forming in some way. And it doesn't happen like out of easiness or funness. Like this really reminds me that you maybe had to go through something, or you went through something that caused you to really like have to go inward to look at yourself, to maybe I definitely feel like your trauma could have been activated by the situation that you were in, and it really made you have to go inward to do a lot of shadow work. And because you're doing the shadow work, this is a really beautiful thing that's happening, but it's really painful because the ego is going to feel very uncomfortable with the identities and negative beliefs that are changing. It's going to hold on. It's going to, act out. It's going to resist, right? And so I feel like you're in that in-between stage between your old identity falling away and your new identity forming. And I definitely get this feeling it's like closer to your like soul and your heart and who you really are on the inside. I love that you got the new pearl too, because it just shows that like through irritation is how a pearl forms, like over and over and over again. Hold on. So the pearl is done through irritation over time. And so whatever situation you've been in has like, I just see you forming in a new way. It really reminds me of when the caterpillar becomes a butterfly and it like completely dissolves. And I definitely get that you are going through that right now. And so if you're feeling confused, scared, don't know what's really going on, feeling doubtful of the process, like this is just to remind you that there is a process going on. It is a really big one, and you are doing your best to move through it. And it's scary. Like this is really scary to go through. Like I think Spirit just wants to validate that, and so do I. Like having to go through any kind of ego death, any kind of transformation is really painful sometimes. And I think that's what, I think it's like honoring that, right? Honoring the pain and also realizing that you had a dream in something else, right? Maybe you had a dream of being in a certain relationship or being with a certain person or being in a certain job, and like that's dissolving. And anytime that happens, it can be very scary and very difficult. But I do feel like it's letting the old dream die so that you can step into a new dream that is more you, more heart-centered, more soul-centered. I'm hearing more benevolent, which is just being more of who you are and who you've been, like who you are as a soul, and following more from a like in a soul-based way, like, okay, what lights my soul up, right? And what do I need to do to get to that point? What do I need to do to honor that, right? And it's also about letting negative beliefs die about yourself, maybe, and letting maybe a certain relationship die, and letting things that are not in alignment anymore die, because I think that's one of the hardest things about going through an ego death in any way. It's not just like you're losing what's made you feel comfortable and familiar. You could also be losing a relationship. You could also be walking away from someone. You could be walking away from a job that you thought that you're going to be happy with forever. And if you're fixed in any way, like having a fixed sign, or you have any fixed signs in your chart, this is going to be even more difficult just because it's so hard to change. Like I think change is so scary for everybody, but definitely for fixed signs for sure. And some earth signs as well. Like Taurus is fixed. I believe, yes. So the challenge is mortification. And this is really like letting the dream die. like really is letting the old dream die. And it's like, okay, so when we avoid pain, that's when suffering comes in. So I don't know I think that there's been some resistance, which is totally human. Resistance on like doing this or going for this, or resistance on walking away from something. And I think that facing how you feel about the current situation and really looking at the truth, right? And it can be really hard to look at the truth sometimes if we have fantasies and stuff over, like, let's just say it's a relationship, right? This person, you really want to be with them, but then they show up and it's not good for you in some way. And it's like letting that be the truth instead of the fantasy and potential of what we, what we want in a relationship to overpower what the actual reality is. And I think that that's been a huge thing for whoever I'm speaking to right now. And it doesn't have to be a relationship, but I definitely feel like there's an identity that is also dying around maybe what you want in relationships, maybe what you think is, what you did think that would be making you happy. Maybe it's not making you happy. Maybe it's not lighting your soul up. And it is letting, like, what you formerly felt was familiar, uncomfortable to go. And here's the thing, right? It is familiar, uncomfortable sometimes. But the more you heal and the more you do the shadow work and the more you stay in a situation that is like not working for you, the more difficult it gets. There was this metaphor that someone used about trying to fit on clothes that were too small and an identity that's too small. And I feel like that's something that you may have been doing. And I do this too. So it's totally normal because it's so familiar, right? And it makes you feel, your ego feel comfortable, but over time it starts eroding at your sense of self, at your empowerment. It starts eroding you in some way. And I do think that this erosion is for your higher good in some way too, because you're doing the work, right? If you weren't doing the work, then it would be much more difficult, I think, to move through this. I keep getting like confirmation burps. I'm like, oh my God. I think just spirit is like, this is really important, I genuinely think that, like, okay, so we have so many planets in Scorpio. We have Mercury in Scorpio, with Venus in Scorpio, I believe. We have, don't quote me on it, but I just know that there's so much Scorpio happening right now. We are in Scorpio season. We're almost in Sagittarius season. Hi, honey, what's up?
Can I...
So Scorpio is really prevalent right now. And Scorpio is about investigative feeling and understanding things at a very deep level, digging into your subconscious. It's about looking into your patterns, and it could be looking into power dynamics too between you and other people, or maybe you and yourself, right? Like, where am I feeling like things are falling apart? Where am I feeling powerless? Where am I feeling helpless? Like, that's somewhere to look that would be very helpful. I do think that Scorpio is helping us, like, with, like, getting connected to our feelings, because getting connected to the feelings is the one way to transmute energy, okay? So, like, if you're feeling afraid, if you're feeling sad, if you don't feel them and put it off and numb, then it can make it so much more difficult to move through things because we're not transmuting in the right way, right? So I think fully feeling how you've been feeling is a great first step. Like, am I feeling my feelings right now? Am I avoiding my feelings? Something really great that someone told me about was setting a timer for feelings. And like, okay, for like 10 minutes a day or 5 minutes a day, I'm going to feel this grief. And I think it's really beautiful in that way, because it's a beautiful thing to, it's a beautiful thing to like let yourself do, right? And I think a lot of the issues sometimes comes from like not feeling our feelings, and especially in childhood, if you like shove stuff down, I definitely feel like this is bringing up some childhood or past life, any kind of really, I'm hearing condensed pain that you felt like you couldn't handle at the time is coming up at this point to be healed. And I think it's through a situation that triggered this in you. Usually it is, but I do feel like you are going through something really hard, and it's really scary and it's really painful, but it's also like for your higher good. And I think that as long as you keep trying to show up for yourself, feel your feelings, and get connected to your truth, right? Like, what is your truth about whatever situation you're going through? What do you think's happening? What do you want to happen? What do you need to happen? Are you getting your needs met? Like, there's so many things that we can ask ourselves. Now, what's your support is sun splendor. So this is like the truth, joy. Really just joy. What lights you up? And it's following, it's like a breadcrumb thing I'm seeing spirit give you, right? So you're like, okay, there's one breadcrumb here. Hi, what's up, baby? Okay, so I'm seeing spirit give you breadcrumbs, right? And it's like following the light, but it's small, like little, like it's small it's like a small amount of lights. Like I can see them like a pattern, right? And you go to the first light and you're like, okay, like this is right? And then you go to this next one and you try to find the next like space of light. And I feel like that's truth, that's clarity, that's healing, that's also what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel like you are in alignment. And the more you follow this breadcrumb trail of light that Spirit's giving you to help you transmute this energy, the easier it's going to get. I definitely am feeling like exposure therapy a little bit here. Exposure therapy, like the more you expose yourself to what lights you up and what's in alignment, like the easier it gets to recognize what it is in the first place, and also to carry out what you really want to do. And I do feel like it could be a lot of fear around carrying out what you want to do in some way. And I definitely feel like it could be old fear. So if you're feeling fear, feel the fear, okay? You don't have to give into it. You don't have to listen to it, but feel it. My daughter's she's behind me this whole time. Not this whole time, but for like the last 2 minutes. She's so funny. Okay, let me see. I need to pull some cards. Oh my goodness, you're hilarious. Yeah, I definitely feel, okay, so I got 8 of Cups right here that I saw. 10 of Swords and 5 of Wands. So this is you walking away from an ending, something that was really painful. And I feel like there's a lot of internal conflict over walking away from something that is painful, that caused you a lot of pain. And yeah, I feel it could be over, like it's the past, 6 of Cups. And we also have the High Priestess. Okay. Let me hold on one second. So there was a painful thing that happened, okay? This could be in a relationship, something that was like, I feel like it could have been a betrayal for a lot of you, but I do feel like something happened and it was extremely painful, and it really made you look at whatever this was and be like, I need to walk away from this. Now, because it's familiar, maybe whatever this was, it's been really hard to walk away from, and I think you've had to do a lot of internal digging and an internal, I'm hearing internal evaluation on why it's so hard to walk away from this, especially if it's not serving you in some way, especially if it's causing you to feel out of alignment to continue going back to this thing, whatever it is. It's like, why are you sticking it out? And I think that digging into maybe the fear of being alone, the fear of not having financial security, the fear of not having stability, like those fears probably stem from something really old. And I think that looking at your childhood and really going into like, okay, what am I actually really afraid of? And is that actually true? One, but what is it? And can I feel it? And I don't know why. So today I was feeling a lot of fear, and I felt a lot of grief underneath the fear. Sometimes fear can be masking grief. And I definitely feel like there's like a sadness I'm feeling here. I definitely feel like it's over a current situation, but I do feel like the sadness is old, and maybe that's something that you're realizing too. And the fear is old as well. So it's like connecting to the fear and here's the truth. Connecting to the fear and the sadness. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my gosh. I can't with you. Okay. I'm sorry guys for the distractions. I don't know. It's just happening. Hold on.
I'm trying to get my
Okay.
glasses.
I saw. Can you look at the camera? Because that was actually cute. She had to give me sunglasses, so I look cool now. Okay. So you could also be feeling like things are not going as planned. Like you could have in your head like the way you think this should have gone, and it has not gone that way. And I definitely feel like because things have not gone as planned, it can be very frustrating and it can be very scary. And I keep hearing this from Spirit that like the unknown is kind of like where the greatest mystery is. And I think the unknown is so scary to us as humans. But I do feel like there's something really beautiful about not knowing what's going to happen next in some way, because I think that it's going to be really beautiful. But I also think that Spirit wants you to imagine like what lights me up and like what do I really want for my future, and how do I align with that version of myself. And you already are. I think this is just confirmation for you, but I also just want to honor like the fear and the pain, because when your ego is collapsing and dissolving, like the butterfly or the caterpillar in the butterfly like completely melts, you're like totally melting, okay? When that's happening, that can be very uncomfortable. I just keep hearing Spirit say the same thing. It's super uncomfortable, okay? You may be very frustrated with this process. And I think I'm seeing Temperance now. So this is taking a long time, but that does not mean that nothing's happening. I think that this is about honoring how far you've come and honoring your growth and honoring like, wow, like I am not the same person I was, and really like embodying what you've learned and who you are now. Because I definitely feel like you've gone through some major transformation recently and are still going through it. I do feel like you're on the tail end of it, which is really good news. But honor how far you've come and don't let your brain lie to you. Like, I definitely feel like you could be really overthinking, really like upset, really afraid. A lot of thoughts happening, okay? Especially because your ego is dissolving, your brain again is going to try to grasp at things and get you to move back and get you to go back to what's familiar and comfortable. And it's like, but is it actually familiar and comfortable anymore? Or is you're just getting too small for the clothing that you're wearing? Like, you need to like, I see someone wearing really small clothing and then like it bursting out. And I feel like that's what's going to happen for you. It's going to be, I'm hearing a big revelation when you get to the point when really like you just cannot fit in this clothing anymore and you're okay with that and you want to find new clothing and you want to move forward and you want to get like to a better space within yourself of peace and I'm hearing peace and prosperity and really honoring how much you are worthy, how much you deserve. And yeah, I just think you're going through something really major and I'm so sorry this reading was like all over the place, but I just really wanted to get it out. If you want to create anything and you feel divinely inspired to do so, do it. Like, I know it's scary. Like, okay. Like for me, for example, all right? I'm so afraid of doing readings. Like I really am, even now. And especially when I have like certain things like, okay, like the house upstairs, which I used to do the readings in is like falling apart, trying to fix it. Right. And it's taking a long time and I have to be here on the floor and it's just really not like, it's really like a great excuse to be like, oh, well, I can't post because like I'm going to be on the floor and like, what does that look like? And it's like, who cares, right? But like there's limitations, right? They're not actually limitations, okay? They just feel like they are and your brain may be telling you they are and maybe that is true for you in some way, right? But create anyways, do it anyways. Even if you're afraid, even if there are limitations, find a workaround. Whatever's easiest for you to do, just find the workaround and go for it. And if people think it's weird, then people think it's weird. Like you're following what you are feeling divinely inspired to do. So, okay guys, thank you so much for being here and bearing with me. I hope it helped and I will see you guys next time.